Well, this is the main question I've been getting from people for the past few weeks. They have been asking me, hey, given the condition of the market, given the condition of the economy, what should I do? Can you please tell me? That way I can make a decision accordingly. Well, let's talk about that. All right, welcome back to another video. If you don't know me, I'm Luis Bruno. I am a realtor down here in Savannah, Georgia, and I make content like this to help people like you make better decisions when it comes to real estate. So let's get to the point. The question is, based on the economy, based on the market, what do you recommend? Meaning, what should I recommend a person to do? Either buyer or seller. Now, before I get into all of that, let me give you a golden nugget here. The quality of your decisions will be based on the quality of your answers. Now, the quality of your answers will be based on the quality of the questions that you ask yourself. So I'm going to help you ask the right questions to yourself so you can find out the problem that you have with your situation, how is that problem affecting you, and what are the consequences if you don't fix it. Make sense? Now, based on those answers, you will be able to know if it's convenient for you to either buy a house, maybe sell a house, or do whatever it is that you want to do. The first thing that people need to understand is that the market will never stop. That is the first thing. Closings will continue to happen regardless of market condition. I challenge anybody, even if you're a realtor, even if you're a broker, I challenge you to let me know in what month in history the real estate market stopped completely and had zero transaction. Meaning, in the whole United States, nobody for an entire month ever was able to move. Not even to rent, not even to buy, not even to sell, nothing. Tell me one month in history where the real estate market stopped completely. It didn't happen. It will never happen, just so you know. Now, the reason why I bring that up, guys, is because I've heard agents, people in the real estate industry, saying that it's super challenging, people are not buying anymore, people don't want to sell anymore. And then when I look up the data here in our local MLS, meaning Savannah and the surrounding areas, this is what I found, and I got it here with me. So this is within the three counties, Chatham, Effingham, and Bryan County. 2,186 transactions in the last 90 days. That's in the last 90 days. 2,186 transactions. Now remember, a transaction means there is a buyer and a seller involved. So you have to multiply the number of transactions times 2. Because you could either work with a buyer or you could work with a seller if you are a real estate professional, right? So that's 4,372 opportunities that you didn't get. All right. With that being said, those are facts. This is not an opinion. This is not me telling you what I think. This is what actually happened. So let's answer the question. All right. So the first quality question you should ask yourself so you can find out if it's the right thing for you to either sell or buy is this. What problem do you have with your situation? And when I say situation, I mean, let's say, for example, you are a buyer. What do you have in place at the moment? What is your housing situation now? Do you have a lease or do you have a house? Right? Do you have a lease or do you have a house? If the answer is I have a lease, then what problem do you have with your lease? If you have a house, well, what problem do you have with the house that you have now? Right? What problem do you have? If the answer is, well, I don't have any problem. I just, I just want to have a house. Okay, so you just want to have a house. You don't need a house. So there you go. Now you answered your question. If you don't have any problem with what you have now, that means that buying a house is not a need at this moment. Make sense? So if you don't need it, why are you going to risk it? You just want it for the sake of wanting it. So there's the answer. But let's say you do have a problem. Then you need to find out what the problem is. Is it a financial problem? Are you paying way too much? Because if that's the case, you're going to have to do the math. Okay, so you're telling me that you're paying too much, which is X amount of dollars every year. Let's say you were to buy a house. How much money are you going to spend on the house and how much equity are you going to build during that period? Because you can tell me you're going to pay $1,400 a month, but are those $1,400 a month are going to be for the equity of the home or are they going to be just for the bank because you're just paying interest rates? Make sense? So if you do the math, you're telling me that you have a problem with the lease that you have now because you're paying too much for what you're getting. But in reality, if you were paying a mortgage, for the next 2 years, you're not going to pay equity. You're going to pay interest rates. So you're not giving the money to a landlord. Now you're giving it to a bank. Does it make a difference? Yes or no? You have to answer that question, obviously, because I don't have the numbers with me. You know how much you're paying. You know how much the home that you want can cost. Now, the same question applies to a seller. Let's say you are planning on moving. You're planning on selling. What problem do you have with the home that you have now? Let's say if you have to move out of the state. Well, the problem that you have with your house is the location. Well, I have a job transfer. It's in Arizona. I'm in Savannah. Of course, I cannot drive every single day. So the problem would be the location. You see, that's the difference. It's not that I want to sell. It's that I have to. I have no other option. So if that's the case, that person still are going to sell. You're going to have to either keep it as a rental or you have to move regardless. Right? Let's say you don't have a problem with the home you have now. What are you going to do? It's the same exact answer. If you don't have a problem with your house, that means that you really don't have a need. All you have is a want. You just want another house to keep up with the Jones. Well, I want to live in a nicer neighborhood because my cousin, they just bought a brand new house. It just looks so much nicer. Or my brother or my sibling or whatever. Make sense? So you need to identify the problem first. You need to let me know what the problem is. Well, my home is too small. Okay, how many rooms you have? I got 3. There's 5 people in the home. You see, that's a problem. Now, this is why, guys. This is why when you're watching the news and you're watching all of these other people in the industry telling you, oh my God, the recession, everything's going to crash, everything's going to go down, we're all going to die. It's just so they can sell you and they can get your attention. That's why I'm telling you. The quality of your decisions will be based on the quality of the answers, and the quality of the answers will be based on the quality of the questions that you ask about your situation, right? So what problem do you have with your situation? How is that affecting you? And what happens if you don't fix it? Let's say the same example with the seller. You're telling me you only have 3 rooms and there is 5 people living in the house. Okay, so what happens if you don't fix that? What happens if you don't fix that within the next 12 months? Okay, so I hope that helped you understand first that you should focus on facts, not people talking about their feelings and what they think. Remember what I showed you, the stats? Even realtors telling me that the market is dying when there's over 4,000 opportunities in 90 days, right? So look at the stats, get your emotions out of the equations, look at your situation, right? What is the problem? How can I fix it? What happens if I don't fix it? And what is the worst case scenario? So now let's talk about worst case scenario. Let's say that you actually do buy a house, right? And 2 years, 3 years down the road, you find out that it was the wrong decision. Let's say you bought the home went down in value, now you want to sell it, and now you don't have enough equity on the home to sell it, meaning the home is worth, let's say you bought it for $300,000. 4 years down the road, now the home is only worth $280 because the market crashed. What are you going to do then? Well, my friend, it's called a short sale. You can Google it. I'm not going to go deep into this. It's called a short sale. You need approval from the bank to actually sell your home. Is it going to affect your credit? Yes. Are you going to die from it? No. Are you going to get cancer because of it? No. Is your uncle, wife, and kids are going to die because of it? No. Okay? So that is the worst case scenario. Yes, you can get into a short sale situation. Those are the consequences. Now, let's say you are a seller. Let's say you sold your home. Now you have all of that money from your equity. Now you cannot find another property to buy because the market crashed. You're scared. You don't want to do anything. What is the worst case scenario? Well, you're either going to get the money and spend it on a rental, or you're just going to spend it on a home. So the money is going to be spent anyways. You're either going to spend it on renting, or you're going to spend it on a home, right? Unless you just want to go homeless, which I don't think so. But the money will be spent regardless. Now, to wrap it up, I will tell you this, guys. Every time you ask me that question, my answer will be the same. What problem do you have with your situation? How is that affecting you? And what happens if you don't fix it? If I don't have all of that context behind your question, I am not going to answer the question that you asked me, right? Because I'm not going to be just guessing like everybody's going through the same situations. Believe me, the market is always good for somebody. Sometimes it's good for investors. Sometimes it's good for buyers. Sometimes it's good for sellers. Sometimes it's just good for everybody at the same time because it's just a great market, right? So, with that being said, If I don't know about your situation, your problem, your consequences, it's extremely hard for me to give you any suggestions. With that being said, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.